What's up, you guys, and welcome to another episode of In the Wild. Today, we are at a very special location, Orange Otter Toy Store here in North Augusta, and we're going to talk to the owner, Aubrey Hinkson, who actually used to work over at Augusta University, and she still does as a adjunct faculty member, but she's the owner of the store, and she also helped create In the Wild. So I'm excited to talk to her a little bit about all the cool things that she is doing here at the toy store, but also for the students in the community here in the CSRA. So I hope you're ready, Jack Nation, because here we go. Aubrey, thank you for having us here at Orange Otter. This is your first time on the show, even though you were one of the original people to help make sure In the Wild happened. So thanks for that, and thanks for letting us be here again.
Yes.
And I guess getting started, can you tell us a little bit about Orange Otter and how it came to be?
Absolutely. So thank you for having me on. It's exciting. So Orange Otter Toy Store was really started as an idea in my brain when I was working at Augusta University because I had a little 2-year-old at the time. And I just realized it was an unmet need in our community as far as having a toy store, not just for busy parents to find a place to find a unique gift, but also just for kids to be able to come in and spend time playing with toys and really getting in touch with what they like and those classic play benefits. So that's where it all started, was because I have a daughter and I felt like it was a need that our CSRA had. And so, yeah, that was the beginning.
Yeah, and I love toys. I'm a big kid at heart, and I love the toy store that you've made. And there's a lot of, I guess, details and intention that goes into it, right? So do you mind, I guess, kind of talking about how you select the toys and some of the special toys that you have for kids?
Yes. So, and you're right, like it's super intentional. And it's easy too when I'm shopping for things to carry in the store to get distracted, because toys are really fun and everything is exciting. And so it's easy to be like, squirrel. But what we really focus on is having those toys that are really going to create opportunities for imaginative play. So, and we have, we say we're 0 to 12 is really our target age range. But again, we all love toys. But we want to find toys that are going to meet those needs of those different age groups. But we, have a great book selection that includes local authors. We have a lot of building toys that are going to really help build those STEM skills. And then for the older kids, some really exciting like robot, make your own robot kind of toys. And again, it's all about coming in, letting kids try things out and see what excites them and what sparks joy for them. And another thing when we're picking things is we want toys that are going to last. We're all, if you have kids, your whole house is bombarded by a bunch of toys, usually big chunky plastic things. And so if we can have some nice toys that you want to keep and hand down, we think that's super special. So we try and do that as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
And what would you say the impact has been so far? Because you've been here for about 2 years now.
Yes. So we've been in business 2 years. And again, it's been a wonderful learning process. And it's cool because we're a small business, we get to have those relationships with people and with customers. And so for them to share, hey, this is something that we like, or this is something we're looking for, and then we can carry it, then that's super special. And we've been able to branch out. We always want to have American and European made toy brands. But we're getting to bring in new brands every quarter just to kind of keep people coming back for more.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna start coming here a lot more often. And I guess switching gears a little bit, you also are still connected with Augusta University, one through JAG Perks, which we'll talk about in a second,
yes.
but also you teach marketing.
Yes.
So how did you come into, I guess, that adjunct role?
Yes. So when I was with the university in an administrative function, I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to do some lectures with the whole College of Business, and it started actually, Dr. Barbara Coleman had me in as a guest speaker in one of her classes over 10 years ago, and then I just found like such a passion for it, and I loved getting to share real world marketing experiences with the students, whether it's a freshman group or those that are getting ready to graduate and go out into the business world, because I thought about my experience as an undergrad And even, beyond that, how much I would have appreciated to have someone talk to me about marketing in a real world context. And so, I've been doing it now for almost 10 years. I'm thankful that the whole college still wants me there. And I've just loved getting to learn from students too, because marketing is all about understanding customer wants and needs, and those are constantly changing and evolving, especially in the speed of the world we live in today. And so it's helped me continue to stay on my toes and keep up the pace of the changing marketing environment. And it's also been a great pipeline. So we have one of our sales associates, marketing and sales associates. She's a graduate student at Augusta University. And then the person who does our social media for the store actually started as a student. Then she did her internship with us here at the toy store. And now she's a paid employee. So it's just really cool to still be connected to the university in that way.
What was it like, I guess, making that transition from teaching about marketing and then kind of making it a lot more personal about owning the toy store?
Yeah, I think entrepreneurship is kind of a whole, another ball game. There's so much that goes into it. Marketing is, of course, a very important part of it. But I would say it's everything that I've been able to do with the store is because of the foundation that I had, in higher ed, in marketing. And again, continuing to make sure that everything that we do, every toy that I pick, the colors on the wall, everything that we do is focused on what our customers want and what they're looking for. I think that continues to make me feel like, hey, the effort spent with marketing is good. And a lot of people think that Orange Otter Toy Store is a chain.
Oh, wow.
And I think that they think that, humbly speaking, that because the branding is so solid and so strong. And obviously I love branding and what we did at Augusta University. So that's definitely bled through into what we're doing here.
What is that like when people are asking, like, oh, is this a franchise, right?
Yeah, it's cool because, it makes me proud to be like, hey, you think this looks good enough to be a franchise. And it also makes me hopeful that maybe someday down the road that could be something that we do. If there was somebody who was interested in franchising, at this point we're open to anything because we're so new.
When you were growing up and you were, I guess, trying to decide what career path you would take, did you ever imagine it would be entrepreneur and teaching?
No. I never in a million years, even if you had told me like 10 years ago that we would be running a toy store, I would have been like, what? But it is amazing how, kind of each path and door that opens. And I've always told that, whether it's like mentoring a student or someone on my team, is find a gap. And if you can fill that gap, if you can meet an unmet need using your strengths, like go for it. And that's what I feel like we've done here with the toy store is it's such an unmet need in our community. And, we had the idea, we somewhat have the expertise by having kids and loving toys and loving play. And so we did it.
And seeing that you are a mom to two little ones, like what are their takes of being the kids of a toy store owner? Like how do they act when they get to come in here?
Yes. So it's really funny. I heard from like a parenting podcast, you can't expect your kids to be thankful if they've never gone without. And I was like, oh, well, opening a toy store probably wasn't the best parenting move. But my daughter, she's 5.5, and she definitely thinks this is like her store.
Oh, wow.
And she's worked with me. And she's actually getting really good at customer service.
Oh,
and
wow.
So when people come in, she'll say, welcome to the toy store, and can I help you find anything today? So she's definitely taken on that role. And then my son's almost 1.5, and he just terrorizes the store. He wants to touch everything and grab everything. But I think my hope is that it's a great place for them and their friends to grow up and maybe, be a pipeline for employees, and they'll get to work here someday. But it's been fun.
Have you ever used them to like test out a toy to see if okay, let's see if this works out?
Yes, definitely. Especially, my daughter, she loves anything and everything, so she doesn't necessarily have super discerning tastes, but especially for like the developmental toys, which is really big for that baby age range, testing those out with Dawson, our youngest, has been so helpful because, what stage he is in, whether it's crawling or now walking, what are the things that he's gravitating towards as far as like developing those motor skills. And that's been great because I think that's what people look for when they come in the store is some guidance. If they're buying a gift for a 1-year-old, like, if you don't have a 1-year-old, what do you get?
Yeah.
And so we can really give that, honest feedback because we live it.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to any like aspiring entrepreneurs who are maybe had an idea for a business, but they aren't really sure yet?
Yeah, I think the first thing to do, it's always fun to dream and think through like, what could this be? But I think the first thing you really want to do, and it goes back to Marketing Principles 101, is make sure that it is something that people need, and do that through testing the market, just talking to people, asking around, because I think, people sometimes go into entrepreneurship with this idea of a business without really thinking about like, well, is this an unmet need? Is this something that people actually need? Whether it's, a good or a service. So I feel like that's step one. It's just like kind of getting a lay of the land and understanding of your market and making sure that it's actually something that could be successful.
Is there anything surprising that you learned about entrepreneurship as you continue to grow the store?
There's been so many things, definitely from just like the nuts and bolts of running a retail brick and mortar store that I have had to learn. I always joke that my last retail experience was working at Pier 1 when I was in college. So I'm by no means like a retail expertise. So all of that, but I would say just how important it is to make those connections with other small businesses and learning from them and leaning on them and offering that, back to them as well. We're a part of a small business group called the Merchants Alliance with North Augusta, and that group has been so important for us, just making connections. We're actually this month in November, we're hosting a date night for parents.
Oh, wow.
Us and 2 other small businesses where it's an after-hours event, ticketed event, where parents can come and shop at our different establishments, have cheese and wine, and sort of do some pre-shopping for the holidays. And that's not something that I could have done by myself, and so having those relationships has been more important than I realized they would be.
Well, I'm loving the conversation so far, and for those watching, stay tuned because we got more with Aubrey when we come right back.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Augusta's Promenade and Paint Tour. So Augusta's art is very important to us because it does foster creative progress.
Peace, family. Welcome to Humanitary House.
Welcome back. We're chatting with Aubrey, the owner of the Orange Otter Toy Store here in North Augusta. And Orange Otter is a participant of JAG Perks. Do you mind talking a little bit about what the perk is for, I guess, students and employees that may want to shop here?
Yes, we are proud to be a part of the JAG Perks program here at the Toy Store. And faculty, staff, students can get 10% off any purchase anytime, and that's on top of any other discounts that we may be running at the
nice.
time. So yes, we definitely want to support our students, faculty, and staff. And we understand what an asset it is to have Augusta University in our community. We have tons of professors and who come in with their kids, and it's just, we know what a benefit the university is to our area, and so we're proud to be a part of that and celebrating that with our JAG Perks.
When you originally opened the store, did you imagine having so many community partnerships and involvement as much as you have now?
No, I mean, that has been, a great surprise, and I think it just goes to show that other people realize, being in the river region right now, the CSRA, like it's the place to be. It's growing at such a rapid rate. We have so many new developments, so many new things from, an arts and entertainment perspective. And so I think what we're doing here has been a nice fit to plug into that where we can. And so, yeah, we're excited for what's to come for sure.
So if you were able to just, because I've asked other people this on the show too, like money not being an object and just like no bounds, just like one cool thing to implement for Orange Otter, what would it be?
I'm going to tell you the answer that came right off the top of my head.
Okay.
And this is actually one of our associates' ideas,
Okay.
Morgan. She came up with the idea that we do a mascot. And working at Augusta University when Augustus was launched and when Rory from the Children's Hospital was launched, I feel like, I've had some experience in the mascot arena. So yeah, if we were to ever stumble into a few thousand extra dollars, we would love to bring Otis Otter to life with a mascot because I think kids would love that.
I love that idea. It made me just think of Duo from Duolingo.
Yes.
Like just taking a storm on social media and then he could meet Otis the Otter.
Exactly. So that's definitely like a dream that we have.
I love that idea. Let's make it happen.
Okay.
Somebody, like y'all come shop so that way they can.
That's right.
Get
Yes.
Otis the Otter to real life because he could do so many cool things with that. Anything else that comes to mind? Just like money being no object. Just.
I would say just being able to be even more responsive to what people are looking for. We do have our buying seasons, right? And every time we go, we always reach out to our customers and say, hey, what are you guys looking for? What are you hoping to see? And we brought in a lot of lines based on that customer feedback. But just to be able to be even more responsive to that, if money was no object, and just have anything and everything from a toy perspective that people would want to see, that would be a dream.
Yeah, I was curious of how you keep up to date with, what toys are trending and, what is going to be a trend in the river region and how you kind of make that happen and put that into.
Yeah, and I think it's like almost like we have a formula. It's like what's trending, what's happening, and then also does it fit with our brand? Like is it focused on imagination and creativity and innovation? Is it something that could be a STEM or is it something that's going to get kids active and outside? Because we really want screen-free options.
Oh, nice.
It is so hard, I think, now for parents to find screen-free options. And even when you ask kids now, like, what's your favorite toy? It's usually video game related or a game on the iPad or something like that. And so we want to be an alternative to that. And so it's finding what's the latest cool craze mixed with what some of those classic play things. So, this holiday we're going to have a lot of exciting things like a whole line of bow and arrows that can be used, little kids, toy bow and arrows up to a little bit more advanced. We'll have some magic kits, just a lot of like really unique things that maybe we remember finding in a toy store when we were young. That's really going to be fun for them to open on Christmas morning.
And speaking of classics, just like when we were looking around earlier, like you do have a lot of classic toys. So for like big kids like me or for parents who may have had like a certain experience that, like you said, may want to pass that down, like they can get some of those stuff here too.
Yes, absolutely. We have a really large games and puzzle section. So a lot of the classic family games like Sequence and Password, we have all of those. We even have Oregon Trail, which was a computer game that I played growing up, but they've turned it into a board game. So a lot of like funny things like that. And then, a lot of the classic toys, classic Army Men, parachute, Slinky. We have tiny Slinkies, normal Slinkies, jumbo Slinkies, pretty much anything and everything you can think of sort of in that retro theme we have.
What would you say is the most unique toy that you've been able to bring to the store?
Unique. I mean, we've had some very unique toys. I think one comes to mind. We had yoga army men. So they were little army men in different yoga poses. So that was one of probably our most unique toys. But I would say our top sellers are the Jack in the Box.
I love this.
Yeah, because it's the classic song, and no matter how many times I do it, like, it scares me every time. But yeah, people have loved the Jack in the Boxes. I think just because, like, the artistic detail on the side of them, and it does have that nostalgic feel. And then another one that's always a top seller for us is the Ribbon Dancer.
Oh, okay.
Which are like the ribbon wands. Those sell like crazy. So those are like our top 2 sellers year round.
And before I let you go, just kind of switching back gears to marketing, what I guess, or how would you describe yourself as a professor? Like, if someone was like, oh, I really love listening to this episode and I may want to take up this marketing class, whether I'm a marketing student or just as an elective, how would you describe yourself as a
that's
professor?
fun. Well, I wish I could get one of my students to do this for me, but I would say, I make the class all about, like, real world problem solving. And so I would not say it's a hard class, but I will say it's a class, I think, that gives you an opportunity to think and really apply those basic marketing principles that we review into real world. And there's always something, especially in the world we live in today, going on in the news. And so we'll do different cases where it's like, okay, let's pretend that you're the marketing team for Boeing. And, this happened on their latest flight. How do you respond? Thinking about these things in those terms. So I think it's a good class because whether you go into marketing or not, it still kind of gives you a different perspective, even if you're a consumer, on how things might happen from a marketing communications perspective. So yes, come take my class.
And last question before I let you go. So at Augusta University, we are priding ourselves that we're an experience like no other. Mm-hmm. Even though you were one of the people that helped come up with that tagline. So I'm curious to hear from you as the last question is, how has Augusta University been like no other to you?
I can't imagine where I would be without Augusta University. And I would say my experiences there, the opportunities that we had to make a difference and make an impact and find those gaps and be empowered to fill those and make it a better place. I feel like the experience that I had working there, 10 years was, the richness of a full career. And so I'm so thankful. And I love that tagline, like no other, because I really do believe that. And I believe that the university's impact on our region as a whole, of course the state, but our region is so powerful and so much left to be tapped into. And so we're obviously just trying to do our small part in doing that here at the toy store. But yeah.
Thank you again, Aubrey, for being here and letting us be here. And for everyone that's watching, check out Orange Otter. It's right here in North Augusta. There's Jag Perks, and there's so many other cool things here. And thanks again.
Thank you, Rayshawn.
All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I certainly enjoyed catching up with Aubrey because it had been so long since I've seen her. And come shop at Orange Otter. I know I'm about to go shop at see some of this stuff because they have some really cool toys for big kids, like I mentioned before. And remember, there's Jag Perks, so you get 10% off. If you like this episode, like, subscribe, do all of those things because I really want to hear from you and let me know what toys you would purchase from the toy store. So you gotta come check it out for yourself. And until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Go Jags!